afraid of the dark.
Hello, dear listener. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe to the channel and leave your reactions and comments. It's important to us. The story I'm going to tell today is not about ghosts, monsters, maniacs, and other symbols of scary stories. But today's story is true and will truly make you shudder. Enjoy listening. It all started in 1992. Just after celebrating the New Year holidays, which were unforgettable, we young 20-year-old students were having a blast. Until that strange and terrifying day, January 27th. It was a Monday, just an ordinary day. Some were preparing for exams, some were just fooling around. But my day started with a nightmare, one that haunts me to this day. I remember barely waking up, as if someone was forcibly holding me down to the bed, preventing me from getting up. Today I was supposed to receive a package from my parents by train. As usual, jam, pickles, grandma's warm socks, endlessly my shelf was already filled with them, and a letter from my parents. At the station at 7 in the morning, it was completely deserted, as if everything froze. Not a soul. I stood at the platform, looking into the dark distance, lost in thought, when suddenly I was abruptly awakened by a nagging voice from the speakers, announcing the arrival of my train. I jerked, turned sharply, and felt a shove and a soft thud. With horror, I watched as an old woman, decrepit, in a burgundy scarf, fell from the platform onto the tracks. And the train was approaching, signaling, and it was quite close already. I began frantically trying to reach her, panic rising within me, but it was too late. The old woman seemed not to even try to save herself, dodging my hands. And then she raised her face and grinned maliciously. I'll never forget that smile and her gaze. A station employee pulled me away at the right moment. The train whizzed by with a whistle, and only the burgundy scarf flashed for a second from under the heap of moving metal. I screamed, and then I don't remember anything else. I woke up in the station's medical room. 2 attendants were bustling around, and I immediately began to scream that there was an accident on the platform. An old woman was run over. A burgundy scarf fell onto the rails. I couldn't save her. But everyone looked at me as if I were crazy. I was informed that there was no accident, no old woman either. The staff noticed me when I was leaning over the platform in front of the oncoming train, but there was no one near me. I don't remember how I recovered from that shock and stress. It wasn't easy. The old woman often appeared in my dreams, her burgundy scarf, and the train approaching her. A year passed. The strange event faded from memory a bit until January 27th came again. Again, a strange morning, again a premonition of something incomprehensible. Deciding not to leave my room that day, I wrapped myself in a blanket and stayed there until noon. And then I just got hungry. There were only dumplings left. I had to go to the communal kitchen to cook them. Thinking that nothing could happen in the kitchen, I grabbed a large pot and a book and headed there. The water was boiling. My roommate, my classmate, came to cook her lunch. We exchanged some thoughts about studying. I approached the window to get salt when suddenly that same old woman, who appeared out of nowhere, looked at me with a malicious smile from the frozen window, right outside on the 2nd floor. It all happened very quickly. The salt shaker flew up, sprinkling my classmate's face. She bent down. I knocked a pot of boiling water onto myself with my hand, and we both screamed. Then there were doctors, psychiatrists, psychotherapists, pills, nightmares. By summer, I somehow managed to recover. I realized with horror that the 27th of each month was becoming fateful for me. And I was right. Every following year on the 27th, I experienced misfortunes. I was hit by a car, I fell out of a window. True, on the second floor, but still lying in a cast is not the best pastime. My friend committed suicide because of her boyfriend's betrayal. In 1997, I got married in the fall, and in 1998, I gave birth to a stillborn child on January 27th. And everything was fine. The pregnancy was normal. Sometimes I had lighter years. I either cut my finger deeply or burned myself with a frying pan. But at least no one died. I planned my next pregnancy to avoid this date, and when I gave birth and then January 27th came, I just went to my parents' house and locked myself in my room for the whole day. That year, my in-laws tragically died again on January 27th. In 2003, my husband drowned in the pool. A person who swam perfectly his whole life. Every year on these dates, I send my child to my parents far away from me, and I am immensely relieved if the day ends with just a sprain, a cut, or a fall, without any deaths. I don't know why this is happening to me, who this old woman was, why specifically January 27th, not the 28th or the 26th. I never wished harm to anyone. My classmates loved me. I was the soul of the company, just a normal, cheerful girl. Why did this fateful date settle in my life? No one could give me an answer to this question. Not in church, where they advised me to pray a lot and spend the day there, not fortune tellers, not psychics. Once I spent January 27th in church, half of the altar burned down from a fallen candle. I spent that day with a healer who had a stroke. It feels like no one can help me. I searched the internet, but found nothing but horror stories and black magic. And surely the date of my death is already very familiar to me.